Hello students, in the last videos so far we discussed about the Newton's laws of motion, and there we got the definition of force from Newton's laws of motion and also linear momentum and also impulse. So far we have discussed in these laws of motion in this chapter. Now in this discussion, if I recall what we discussed, that while discussing the linear momentum, what it defined, the motion contained in a body or the motion possessed by a body because of its mass moving with a velocity, that gives you, that product of mass and velocity gives us the linear momentum of the body. And what is the impulse? Impulse is a large force acts for a small interval of time. Then it is very important to know the force or the impulse of that force, that is the product of the force and the time interval for which the force acts. And this impulse gives us the change in momentum of the body. Because of this impulse, means force and time gives us the change in momentum of the body. So by using all these things what we have discussed, now we will go for a question, or I can say that this may be a long question. State law of conservation of linear momentum and find some of the applications of this law of conservation of linear momentum. Okay, so first statement is the law of conservation of linear momentum. So the statement, it is a law, so we should write it states that. So we should write it states that. So what it states that? The statement is like this. The statement of this law is, it states that, right? It states that the total linear momentum of an isolated system is conserved. That is, what conserved means? Remain constant. That is called conserved. That is, remain constant. Remain constant. Got it? So the statement is that the total linear momentum of an isolated system, again comes this isolated system. System means of your choice. But when we apply the conservation of a linear momentum, it is, I can say that the concept of this conservation of linear momentum is particularly important in situation in which we have two or more interacting bodies. Means in my system, in that system, there are two or more interacting bodies, then particular on that case, the conservation of linear momentum is applicable. It is applicable. Means you cannot take a one particle system and you apply this law of conservation of linear momentum. That is not a clear idea. That will not give you a clear idea. Okay, you can apply. It is you can apply, applicable. But it is particularly the concept is particularly for system of two or more interacting bodies. So that is my system. What is isolated? Means the net force acting on the system is zero. The net external force acting on the system is zero. That is called isolated. A number of forces are acting and the resultant is zero. That is called isolated. Or no external force acts on the system. There may be internal. There are two interacting bodies. They may have an internal force. This one will apply the force on this and this will apply to the force this one. There is internal force, but there is no external force is acting on this body. No external force is acting on this body. In that case, that is called as an isolated. So already you know that's the idea. Clear? And it is the direct consequence of Newton's third law of motion. Third law of motion. So this law of conservation of linear momentum, this law of conservation of linear momentum depend on the what external force acts on the system. If external force acts on the system, we will not apply this one. If no external force acts, then we can say you can state the law. And it does not depend on the detailed nature of the internal forces that is acting in between the particles. It does not depend on the internal forces, what is acting on the particles. Clear? So with this statement, now we will go for the proof of this law of conservation of linear momentum from Newton's laws of motion. So by using the Newton's second law and also by using the Newton's third law, I will derive the law of conservation of linear momentum. Means if there is no external force acts on the system, the momentum of the system remain constant. Remain constant means for an isolated system, if you write for an isolated system, the momentum, total momentum P is equal to constant. Linear momentum is represented as P is equal to constant. Or we can say if Pi is the initial momentum, that should be equal to Pf, the final momentum. Same thing, okay? And remember another thing is that as these are involved force, momentum, vector quantities, so direction is also important. Means the main thing is that if the component of the net external force on a closed system is 0 along an direction, along an axis, then the component of the linear momentum of the system along that axis cannot change. Remember one thing, if the force acting along this direction, what is the component of the force? If external force is acting, but what is the component of the force along this perpendicular direction? Along this direction, what is the component? Or along this direction, what is the component of this force? Tell me what is the component of this force along this perpendicular direction? This is the force. What is the component along this direction? What is the component? Suppose F component Fc, that is equal to 0 along this direction, because the perpendicular component F cos theta, theta is 90, so this is equal to 0. So if this component is 0, then if this is a body, the momentum is conserved along this direction, but not along this direction, because the external force is acting. My point is this one. Force is acting this direction means momentum is not conserved along this direction. Momentum is conserved along this direction because the external force is 0, no component. Means, for example, when you toss a coin, you apply force perpendicular. Force is applied, tossing the coin. Throw a ball, force is applied. Gravitational force, they are vertical. What is the component of force along horizontally? No component. So there is no horizontal motion, the only vertical motion. So means we can say that horizontally there is no force, so the momentum is conserved horizontally. Means when you toss this coin or the chalk, there is a conservation of momentum horizontally, because you are applying the force and the gravitational force, all are vertical. No component of force horizontally, so momentum is conserved horizontally. That is an example. Okay, so it is a vector, that is the. Now we will go for the very first, we will go for the derivation part. So first by second law. From second law, that we can say that the proof of this by second law. Derivation of the law of conservation, derivation. First I will find from Newton's second law. Means I will derive this Law of conservation of linear momentum from Newton's second law. So what this Newton's second law states? According to the second law of motion, the time rate of change of momentum is equal to the applied force. So F applied or external, vector form if you will write, F applied is equal to rate of change of linear momentum, that is the time rate. And for an isolated system, what happens? F applied or external, what that? Is 0. So F applied is 0. So dp by dt is equal to 0. Students, this is a derivative of what? Momentum. Derivative of linear momentum. Derivative of which will give you a constant, a zero value. What is the differential coefficient? What is the differential coefficient? P is the differential coefficient. If the differential coefficient is constant, then the derivative will give you 0. So P is constant, not 0. Derivative of a constant is 0. Already remember, derivative of a constant with respect to what? T or x or y. Derivative of a constant is 0. So this should be a constant. So P must be a constant, not 0. P must be a constant, means P does not change. Okay. So this gives you what? In the absence of an external force, the total momentum of the system is conserved. Conserved means remain constant. Next, the most important part is the from third law. We will derive this Newton's law, conservation of linear momentum from third law. Okay. So now I will go for the derivation part. So I will derive this from Newton's third law. Next, now we will go for the from second part, second derivation. We can show that in second way, from Newton's third law of motion. Means we know that by applying this Newton's third law, I will show you the conservation of linear momentum. The total momentum of the system remain constant. That I will show here. Now, let us consider two bodies A and B. There are two bodies A and B. Moving, mass of A is m1, mass of B is m2. Suppose the velocity of A is u1, velocity of B is u2. Moving along this direction, along in a straight line, right? Two bodies of masses m1 and m2 moving with velocity u1 and u2 along this given horizontal direction. Okay. Now here let u1 is greater than u2, then what will happen? The velocity of u1 is greater than u2, then there must be collision, there must be interaction, collision, or you can say interaction. So then you will get that A and B, they will interact like this. Suppose A and B, they interact for some time. During this interaction, what happens? This is m1, mass m2. During the interaction, what happens here? I will show that during the interaction, there will be a force between them. A will interact with B and B will interact with A, means A will apply some force to B and B also apply some force to A. So let FBA is the force on B by A and FAB force on A by B during the interaction or during the collision. After the collision, let the two bodies separate out. Once they collide, for some time they have an interaction, then they will separate out. So after the collision, let A move with a velocity v1 and B of mass m2 move with a velocity v2. And in this case, I have considered all the velocities are in the same direction, right? After the collision, that is one dimensional motion. And this is also applicable for two dimensional and three dimensional. Okay, so it is, so before collision, got it? Before collision, this is during collision, and after collision, isn't it? Now we discuss one by one. Momentum means linear momentum. Momentum of, so here system is what? A and B is my system. Momentum of the system means A and B system before collision. Momentum of the system before collision. What is the momentum of the system before collision? Momentum of A plus momentum of B. What is that momentum of A? M1 U1. What is the momentum of B? M2 U2. Clear? First line is clear? Then momentum of the system, that is A and B, after collision. Tell me what is that after collision? M1 V1 plus M2 V2. Clear? Right? Now, then what is the change in momentum of A? During this, because of this collision, change in momentum of A. Next, change in momentum of A. Body A. Body A. What is the change in momentum? Its final momentum is what? After collision, M1 V1. Final is M1 V1 minus M1 U1. Initial is M1 U1. Change in momentum of body B, M2 V2 minus M2 U2. M2 U2 initial, M2 V2 final. That is the change in momentum. What I have to prove? Law of conservation of linear momentum. What that says? The total momentum of the system remain constant. Total momentum of the system remain constant. Means what is this M1 U1 plus M2 U2? That must be equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2. That I have to prove. Clear? That if once I prove this thing, this one, the total momentum of the system is equal to this if no external force acts on the system. Now, in the beginning I told that if there is no external force, it is immaterial. What is the internal forces? So these are internal forces. Because of the collision, these are the internal. During the before collision to after collision, there is no external force acts on the system. Is there any force is acting on the system at any part, at any time? No force is acting. These are internal, so it is immaterial. Internal forces are immaterial in applying the law of conservation of momentum because for an isolated system. Got it? Okay. Can you take this? You can take also the screenshot. Right? Now let me erase this part. Then, now we will go for this two, after this, during the collision, next, FAB is the force on A by B, FBA is the force on B by A. That I have taken. During this collision or interaction, let delta T be the time of interaction. Delta T be the time of interaction. Delta T is the time of interaction. Means during this collision A and B they collide, they will collide for some time of what? Delta T. Means here the situation is like that. Body A is there and body B is there. On body A the force is FAB and body B the force is FBA. This force acts for a time delta T. This force acts for a time delta T because the interaction time is very small. So this is a interaction time. Clear? So after taking that, during this collision, that particles, when they collide, what is the impulse acts on the body A? Impulse acting or impulse of the force on A. What is the impulse on the body A? So impulse of the force on body A is, I can write FAB, force x for a time interval delta t. So that is the impulse of the force on A. Similarly, impulse of the force on B, that is equal to FBA x for a time delta t. Clear? Then again, because of this FAB, because of this force and because of this impulse of the force on A, this impulse gives you what? Impulse gives me change in momentum. That's why on body A I got the change in momentum. Now the question comes in your mind, we are not applying any external force, how the change in momentum comes? Because you got this expression, change in momentum of A, change in momentum of B. So this change in momentum because of this impulse. So according to the impulse momentum theorem, so I can write impulse of the force on A, FAB delta t, that I can write here also. What is that? The change in momentum of A, that is equal to the change in momentum of A. So I can write next step, FAB delta t, that is equal to change in momentum of A. What is the change in momentum of A? Recall what you have written, m1 v1 minus m1 e1, final momentum minus initial momentum. Similarly, FBA delta t, change in momentum of B, this is the force FBA on B for a time interval delta t, that gives the change in momentum of B. What is that? m2 v2 minus m1 v1, sorry, m1 m2 u2, right? m2 v2 minus m2 u2. Got it? Right. Now apply the Newton's third law, because you are applying from Newton's third law you are deriving. What this Newton's third law says? According to Newton's third law, this FAB and FBA are action reaction pair. Force on A by B is equal and opposite to the force on B by A. So according to Newton's third law, that we are applying here. According to Newton's third law, FAB is equal to minus of FBA, action and reaction. Clear? So I can write this also, FAB delta t, multiply delta t on both sides, there is no change because the scalar quantity is multiplied delta t for time. So both are FAB delta t is equal to minus FBA delta t. What is this FAB delta t? This one. What is FBA delta t? This one. So this is equal to minus of this one. So can we write like this? So by using that concept, let me write here. This FAB delta t m1 v1 minus m1 u1 is equal to FBA delta t, minus is there, minus FBA delta t is equal to m2 v2 minus of m2 v2 minus m2 u2, or m1 v1 minus m1 u1 is equal to minus m2 v2 plus m2 u2. Got it? So I will make this as m1 u1 this side plus m2 u2 is equal to, this is this side, so minus m2 v2 come to this side, So m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Okay, students, what is this one? As I already told in the beginning, when I erase that, make it note or take the screenshot. See the screenshot. What is this I have written? m1 u1 plus m2 u2. That is the m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Total momentum before collision. What it? Yes, very good. Is equal to total momentum after collision. What it? Okay. Means the total momentum before collision is equal to total momentum after collision if there is no external force acts on the system. This is the law of conservation of linear momentum. Is that clear? So this law is a universal law. This law is a universal law. It is true not only for collision between very large astronomical bodies like your planets, it is also applicable for microscopic particles like your electrons, protons, like that. So that's why it is also a universal law. Okay. So this is the law of conservation of linear momentum. Okay. Okay, students. So we got the law of conservation of linear momentum. And what the conclusion also we got from here? We got that there is an interaction between the bodies. There is some internal force. That internal force changes the momentum of individual particles, particle A and particle B. That momentum changes, but as a whole, for the system means for A and B, the total momentum remain conserved. For the system, the total momentum remain conserved. And here I have proved for the two particle system. You can take for n number of particle system, right? Like your examples like the explosion of bomb. The explosion of bomb is in more than two particle. The conservation of linear momentum for more than two particle system. You can also prove like that. But one of the applications there in our syllabus, and we will discuss that one application of this conservation of linear momentum. So we can say this is the application. One of the application is recoil of gun. What do you mean by recoil of gun? Recoil. When a bullet is fired from a gun, yes. So let me show like a bullet is fired from the gun. Suppose a bullet is fired from the gun. This is the bullet fired from the gun. Initially, the bullet is in the barrel of the gun. In this gun, the barrel, inside the barrel, the bullet is there. But once you fire the bullet goes in this direction. The gun recoil, moves backward. That is called recoil, moving backward, opposite to the direction in which the bullet moves. That opposite direction, the motion in opposite direction is called recoil. So if the bullet is fired, then you will find the bullet is moving in forward direction, then the gun will recoil, means the gun will move in the backward direction. Okay. Then you are observing the pictures also. When you are observing in the picture, when one of the policemen fired the gun, then he shows his hand like this, right? So the hand comes like this, means the gun gives the recoil, means move in the backward. How will prove this one? So initially, mass of bullet is equal to m, okay, small m. Mass of gun, let us consider capital M. Before firing, total momentum of the system Total momentum of the system, how much? Both are rest. Bullet is inside the gun, gun is rest. 0. After firing, velocity of bullet, let that velocity of bullet is, let us consider u. Velocity of gun, in what direction it will go, we will show that. Let the velocity of gun be. Velocity of gun is suppose v. Then after firing, total momentum of the system, tell me, after firing, total momentum of the system. Momentum of bullet, mass into velocity. Momentum bullet, momentum of gun, mass into velocity, mass capital M into velocity. Total momentum of the system after firing. According to the conservation of linear momentum, according to the law of conservation, according to the law, as no external force acts on the system, total momentum before collision equal to total momentum after collision. So total momentum before collision is 0, that should be equal to mu plus mv. So this is the velocity u and this is the velocity. I will show that backward, but according to this, mu plus mv is equal to 0. So from here, what is that expression for v? Oh, you don't know about v. So v is equal to, from here, what you will get? Minus m by capital M into u. This is the recoil velocity of gun. With this velocity, the gun will recoil. With this velocity, the gun will recoil. Now you examine this expression. Means it will move in the backward direction. This is the recoil velocity of gun. This is the recoil velocity of gun. And what the conclusion from here we got? This velocity, it is a vector. M scalars, mass of bullet, mass of gun scalars. V is equal to minus u. Means V direction is opposite to the direction of bullet fire. Means the direction of gun recoil or the recoil of gun is opposite to the direction in which the bullet is fired. Number 1. Number 2. This is equal to m by m. Right? And as you know, m, mass of the gun, is obviously greater than the mass of bullet. So mass of gun is obviously greater than mass of bullet. If you consider the magnitude part, V is equal to m by m into u. As you know, this m is greater than this small m. So this is always m by m is always less than 1. If this is less than 1, then v is always less than u. So the recoil velocity of gun is obviously less than the velocity with which the bullet is fired. Okay. So this is an example of your application of conservation of linear momentum. Okay, students. So go through this. This is a long question. Up to this, it is a long question. State the law of conservation of linear momentum and hence find the recoil velocity of the gun and discuss. Discuss means you will discuss this part. Okay. Okay, students. Now another topic we will discuss here, that is, what is the difference between this push and pull and which one is easier? Which one is easier? So I can say this is the or we can say this is the case like how to resolve a force into its component, and when you resolve that force into its component, then what changes or what difference it makes, that we will find here in push and pull. Okay. So push and pull. we will compare these two things. So the example of push and pull, already you know what is that push and pull. So when I am making this is the suppose a door. When I apply the force like this is my push. If I apply the force like this, then this is my pull, right? So here we will show that which one is more easier, or which is more or less force is required, or which one is easier, okay, to make the same, apply the same force on the two bodies of same mass. One is push and the other is pull, then which one is easier, that we will compare here, okay. So it can say that in the beginning, I can say that in the beginning I will write it is easier, I will prove this one, it is easier to pull than push. It is easier to pull than push. So the example is lawn roller. All of you seen this lawn roller? What is this lawn roller? The wheel is like this, and you will like this, you will apply a force like this, or you will apply a force like this. So one is pull, the other one is a push. So according to that, to a lawn roller means that is used for, what is the use of this lawn rollers? They are used to find what? They are used to do what? Make clean of the lawn or garden. To make that garden clean, we are using a lawn roller. Means it is a wheel, it is rotating like this, and there is a handle is there, and you can apply. So for that also you can take a body like this. So first I will go for the pull part. First I will discuss about the pull part. So while discussing this pull, so when we are discussing this pull, let us consider a body like this is a body, and a lawn roller, and this is the horizontal portion, okay, and let me apply a force like this F, which makes an angle theta with the horizontal. The horizontal is here, or the force you will make, this is the horizontal, right? And this is the case like your pull, okay. So F makes an angle theta with the horizontal direction. So in this course, the force acting on the lawn roller, or you can say the body, this body is pulled like this. So the forces acting on this body are, what are the forces? Number one, the forces acting on the body are weight double, that is equal to mg. This is the weight, right? Let me write like this, weight, that is your mg, vertically downward. And number two, what are the forces? Force of the pull, F, which is at an angle theta. Clear? So as I already told that it is the form of a component form. Now make this F into two rectangular components. One is along this horizontal direction, so this is your F cos theta, and its vertical direction, this is your F sin theta, right? Resolving F into two rectangular components, resolving F into two rectangular components. What are they? One, F cos theta, it is horizontally. Horizontally means it gives horizontal motion. If a force is applied horizontally, the motion will be horizontally. So F cos theta provides horizontal motion, and the second one is F sin theta, opposite to weight. Okay, the vertical component F sin theta is opposite to the weight of the body, means this roller or the lawn roller. Okay, so from here the net weight of the roller is what? Net weight of the roller, weight, I am considering the weight part, that is equal to double is vertical in this, double minus F sin theta. There are two forces acting on the same body, opposite, but this gives a horizontal direction, motion. I am not getting that. Weight part is this one, double minus F sin theta. So this is the first part in the case of pull. Clear? Now we will go for the push part. Clear? Now let me write here, push. Do the same procedure for push thing. Second case, push. Same body of mass is same m, right? Let the same force is applied, but this force is what? It is a push type. Push type means the force is applied like this. So I will apply the force like this, push. And if like this, let the makes an angle. I can show by parallel shifting. This is the force F. It makes an angle theta with the horizontal. This force makes the same angle horizontally, theta. So this is the force. And weight obviously mg vertically downward. Do the same procedure. Resolve F into two rectangular components. F, this is the force along this direction, F cos theta, along this vertical, F sin theta. Okay students, so first part, weight W is equal to mg vertically downward. Number two, force of the what? Push, F, which makes an angle theta with the horizontal. Same case, same mass. The both the cases the mass is m, so that's why weight is mg. Then resolving F into two rectangular components, F cos theta provides horizontal motion because the force is the horizontally, so it provides horizontal motion. But F sin theta, that is along the direction of weight, same direction, right? So net weight of the roller or body, now net weight of the, so this is the case of what? Pull, and this is the case of push. Final, net weight of the roller or the body, that equal to double plus F sin theta, because both the forces acting along the same direction, the angle between the two forces is 0 degree. The net force, one is applied 2 Newton, 3 Newton, both are acting in the same direction. The total force is 5 Newton along the same direction. But in the first case, in pull case, weight is 3 Newton, but the component of force is 2 Newton vertically upward. So the resultant weight is how much? 3 minus 2, angle is 180. You can also apply the resultant form, R is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 180 degree. 180 is minus because the angle is 180. Here the angle is 0. This is one force, this is another force. Weight is also a force. So now we got this second part. Now the effective weight is what? In case of pull, the effective weight is this much. In case of push, the effective weight is this much. So now you tell me, in which case the weight is more? In push or pull? Obviously in push the weight is more. So weight is more means it is not easier to push, but it is easier to pull. That's why I have written that it is easier to pull than push. Okay students? So with this discussion, I think you got an idea about the derivation, all these parts of law of conservation of linear momentum. That is a long question, and this is a short question to understand. So now onwards, if you do or if you apply a force, same force, because when you are the constant, your applied force is same. So you will find what? In case of pulling something, it is easier than to push. Okay. So if I pull the almirah, then it is easier compared to push the almirah. Okay. So go through this video, students, and you will get a clear picture or clear idea about the topic. Thank you, students.